Hi everyone, Deojee here. Gender is an expression or manifestation of electromagnetism in the human form. So the electromagnetic spectrum is everywhere in life, and in humanity it is no different. And one of the places it expresses itself is in our manifest sex and gender polarities within. So the masculine is the electrical and the feminine is magnetic. So, ladies, this is why you have to deal with men being attracted or drawn to you in this way that they keep coming closer, and you always got to try and fend them off. That's because of the natural magnetism that the feminine possesses. And men, you have to handle what it is to take charge, which is to handle the bioelectric flows that move through you every month. So we're all very aware of the feminine menstrual cycle, and through honesty and discussion, there is now enough of a social awareness that women's behaviour can be excused if it's on the bounds of social acceptability because of a particular time in their cycle in the month. Now, men have a cycle as well that is well known to be it's known as the testosterone cycle in modern science parlance, but I refer to it in my work as the charge cycle. And it is to do with there are times in the cycle when a man can take charge, and there are times when the softer side of masculinity is required. Now, both women and men, you will know when your man is at the peak of his charge cycle. Men, you will feel much more driven for sexual discharge than at other times in the month. Your capacity might be much larger. And more than that, when you're able to take charge like that, you can take charge around a woman's femininity. And I don't mean that in terms of being the boss, although that may be one behaviour that gets expressed in. I mean in an electrical sense where, in his charge cycle, a man can be like the banks to the ocean of a woman's femininity, and she can feel held and well contained by him in a very complimentary fashion. But at other times in his charge cycle, you might feel like a little bit of a dinghy bobbing on the hugeness of that femininity. And I'd be willing to bet that men and women among you will relate to that sort of analogy. It's something that's very palpable, although not a physically visible thing. It's something that both parties can feel. Our culture is set up for the spasmic discharge of masculinity, and that's what you'll find the kind of the main function of the football stadium, the games console, the pub, the ready available of drugs and alcohol in other areas. And pornography, and these things are basically set up for this spasmic quick discharge for men of the roar football stadium to get it out, or nipping off with a quick shuffle to some pornography, or drowning that charge that's burning through them with alcohol or drugs. There's this rife pandemic of spasmic discharge of masculinity that really needs to be brought under control, with men learning what it is to take charge of those forces moving through them. And certainly that's making spaces for that and understanding for that, and having a clear language for that is certainly what I bring into all of my events. And I would suggest that all relationship failure could be put down to the spasming and developing charge capacity in men, the sort of fluctuating magnetic potential in women, and how our journey to mastery in those areas is judged in its infancy. So in the same way as when we're all children, we're all babies and we're lying on the mat going, wah, wah, and we're kicking and we're crying and all the rest of it, and we've got no body dexterity. We've got awareness, but we've got no dexterity. And it takes years to become dexterous with this hand, so that when the child that I was seeking to caress my mother, but I was clawing her because I didn't know the difference. I went from that spasming hand to being able to dexterously wield things now, and I can engage in art and other creative processes. I can pass you a hot cup of coffee or tea without spilling it on you and injuring you, and that's because I've achieved a dexterity with this hand through years and years of practice of spasming, getting it wrong, knocking things over, burning myself, burning other people, all this sort of stuff. But you consider what happens when your emotional body kind of erupts at puberty, and it spasms in the same way as the physical body did, where we have these spasms unfettered self-consciousness, arousal, curiosity. And yet when you look at how much support and assistance we get in becoming dexterous with those emotional spasms, you'll find that there's almost nothing there. There's just judgment, or certainly that's what I experienced, was negative judgment just when my feelings were erupting in me for the first time, just as they were seeking their first novice, beginner, infant expressions. I was met with scorn and derision. And now as I reflect upon that, I seek in my work to try to show that this is just not the way to support each other in becoming experts with our emotions and with our sexuality and our sensuality. We have to do exactly as we did with the physical body, and that is to give the space and the understanding and the tolerance that dexterity and capacity only comes with practice, and it only comes with tolerance and understanding, and with good examples and good demonstrations, which is exactly how we learn to become dexterous with this amazing physical body, and how we become dexterous with our minds, is that we went from having these spasming, lashing aspects of self that we couldn't control, into gradually learning more and more about them to bring them under our control. And gender is no different in that respect. The spasming, charge and magnetism in us all, because we all of us are whole beings, we all carry the ability to take charge and express charge and discharge. And we all carry the capacity to be magnetic and attractive. And it's about how we manage and balance them that determine the quality and progressiveness and depth of our relationships.